Doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. It's the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs Elite Pathways Weekly Wrap. Big show for us today. Eddo's got some stuff he wants to talk about in the NRL. He's got some questions. He'll go through, you'll see all the results, all the tables, all the highlights, and he'll talk about the stuff which caught his eye on the weekend. I'm going to go over the NRL briefly as well, just talk about some of the better performances I saw on the day, in a day where people weren't very happy. The link to the Elite Pathways group is in the comments for the group on Facebook. Check it out in the YouTube comments. Alrighty, so we went down 24-12. We lost the battle in the middle yet again. Struggled to stop that post-contact meters. The execution of the Warriors, it must be said, out of yardage was, we didn't do too bad of a job that ourselves, but they were just even better. Two former Bulldogs actually, both fresh, both without injury at the moment, and played like it. And just the way they ran onto the ball at the advantage line, they pushed the envelope with those passes. Many look forward to me, but they really ran onto the ball hard off the back fence and essentially made it hard for our boys to work and hunt as a pack, often isolating defenders in the line and able to get good post-contact meters because of it. So a lot of credit has to be given to the Warriors. But let's talk about our players. Blake Wilson on debut, close to 200 metres and lots of tough runs. Played both sides of the ruck to help out a yardage, which I was really impressed with. And he essentially had fans calling for him to stay in the side, which isn't an easy thing to do on debut. Wasn't as good as Jacob Carraz's debut, but this kid, people are penciling him in to be part of the Bulldogs moving forward. So well done to Blake Wilson. That's what it's all about at Canterbury. You win the hearts and minds. You win yourself, hopefully win contracts with the club. So great performance by him. Really, really happy. Couple of little errors, but we won't worry about them on debut. And as far as giving away a penalty and that sort of thing. But look, Jacob Carraz tried his heart out. Tried to lead by example. Also made over 200. Did more runs for those meters. And special mention has to go to Harrison Edwards, who's retained his spot in the starting side for the game against the Titans. He just continues to play consistent footy. He got his first try. Well done to him. Paul Alamotti, we talked about him last week, and his defence was really, really good. Well done to Paul. And I will say, Jaden Ockenborg, welcome back to the NRL. Finally put in a game which you could, look at and launch from. He's not a fan favourite, unfortunately. Off the field, he's great with fans, and they know that. But on the field, fans have their heart in their mouths, expecting him to drop the ball and stuff like that. He's copped a lot of abuse on social media. But the guy has stood up on the weekend, did some much better stuff. We need him to, that needs to be the minimum for Jaden Ockenborg though, as far as fans are concerned. And we want to see him play at that level as a minimum and get better from there. But anyway, well done to Blake Wilson, and let's beat the Titans this week. We really need to win that. I'm going to hand over to Eddo now, and he'll go through all the results and the stuff that he wants to talk about. So take it away, Eddo.
Thanks, Mickey C. So this is Eddo, back for the weekly Pathways wrap from the Elite Pathways page on Facebook, where you can get a lot of the results and talk about the lower grades of the Dogs. So we're going to go over the results from the weekend. In NRL, 24-12 loss to the Warriors. A few things I want to talk about that a bit later. I realise, Michael, you've probably gone over a bit of that, but a couple of things I want to raise. New South Wales Cup had a 14-all draw with the Warriors. A very high-quality game, I thought. These are definitely two sides that are going to finish probably in the top four, probably in the top, maybe even the top two. They look really good. And there was a few great individual performances, which I'll go into. Curtis Moran got a try, so did Gerald Skelton. Kyle Flanagan kicked 3 goals. So Gerald Skelton, he ran for 228 metres and 90 post-contact metres, which is huge, with 8 tackle breaks leading to that. And Ryan Sutton made his return after a few weeks off with 171 metres, 49 tackles. Samuel Hughes, the other prop, 156 metres. He actually came back into Cup. Not sure why, but yeah, he ran for 156 metres, made 30 tackles. Curtis Moran, 135 metres in only 45 minutes with 5 tackle breaks. Also, game marked the return of Chris Bartolo, and he played 20-odd minutes and did pretty well. A few good touches. And Franklin Pele backed up after playing NRL the night before, and he had a bit of an impact as well, made some good runs, got a couple of good offloads away, which put us in good field position. So he was at his destructive best. But my man of the match went to hooker Kyle Flanagan. This is I think his 3rd game playing hooker. 2 line break assists, 2 try assists. So actually set up going to the line, Curtis Moran's try early, and then after picking up a ball that was on the ground, kept it alive, and then doubled around and threw a cutout pass for Gerald Skelton to score. He was just always on the ball constantly. Not only at a dummy half, where I think he's looking a lot more dangerous, but he was also getting in and around first receiver as well, and giving the other guys a bit of a breather. He's just touching the ball so much. He really seems more... I think he's grown confidence out of playing dummy half, and he's getting, he's wanting the ball, he's calling for the ball. I'm not sure why in NRL he doesn't play like that in the halves, but maybe the more touches he gets on the ball, it gives him more confidence. And I think that move to dummy half is certainly where I see his future going. He made 45 tackles as well. And as I said, he's my man of the match. Well played, continue to play that way, and I think you've got a future at hooker, Kyle Flanagan. Jersey Flegg, they had a loss to the Storm, 34-20. They started well. Tim Johansson got 2 tries in the opening 20 minutes, and then, yeah, that was it. There was no more scoring after the quarter minute mark. They take on the Raiders at Accor this Sunday prior to the NRL game against the Titans. So hopefully I'll get out and see that before the NRL game. In Ron Massey Cup, we had our first win of the season. It was the strongest side that they've fielded this year, and it showed, in the result. 36-12, a win over Penrith Brothers. Lipboy Hopboy getting a double, and he's played quite a fair bit of flag and even a few games in Cup. So handy to get a player like that back in Ron Massey Cup. Such as the depth now, we're getting some players back. Sydney Shield had a 28-6 loss to Penrith Brothers, unfortunately, and both teams in Massey and Shield will play Wentworthville United at Ringrose Park in Wentworthville on Sunday arvo. In Queensland, in Host Plus Cup, the Clydesdales had a high-scoring game against Northern Pride and went down 32-30. Jordan Lipp, who recently signed from the Cowboys, I think this might have been his first game, not sure, for the Clydesdales, he got a double. And other centre, Bessie Tamunga, kicked 5 from 5 goals. In Hastings Deering Colts, the Clydesdales Colts, they had a huge win, 56-22 over Northern Pride, with 4 try-scoring doubles. Hopewadi Finney, Jakeem Thompson, Bailey Nash, and Jake Self. And Kai Dugan got a try, and along with his 8 goals. So a high-scoring game for Kai Dugan. Both Clydesdales teams travelled to the Gold Coast on the weekend to play the Burleigh Bears. So, yeah, as I said earlier, I wanted to talk a little bit about my thoughts on the NRL top 17 each week the last month that's been picked. I think there's some issues there that I think I'm not the only one that can see. I just don't think the balance is there in relation to the bench. As an example, I saw Franklin Pele play 9 minutes in NRL on Friday night. It was in the second half. The score was 18-0 or 18-6 at the time. I don't quite get the reasoning behind not playing him in the first half as well, especially when you consider the light bench that we've been going with. And then he ended up playing New South Wales Cup the following day for about 25-30 minutes and did quite well, but unfortunately he's been suspended for 2 weeks, which hurts, but that happens. And in the same game, Ryan Sutton made his return. I thought there might have been an injury cloud under him coming back, and that's why he wasn't picked in NRL the night before. But he played close to an hour and ran for 170 metres and made over 40 tackles, as I said in the wrap before. And Sam Hughes had played a couple of weeks of NRL prior to this game. He played, as did Curtis Moran, who's played some NRL. Both used to playing in the forwards. All three are available. I just don't get why we didn't put one of them on the bench in NRL. You could see, and you could see the last couple of weeks, even against the Raiders, we're just getting dominated in the middle because I think it's mainly attributed to the light bench and the rotation is just not there. This is not any disrespect to any of the players being chosen. I'm not at training. I don't see what's going on, players' attitudes or anything like that. It's purely from a performance point of view. But we're going with Oluwapu on the bench, which is understandable. Every team is going to carry at least one guy who can play, some of halves or backline in case there's a reshuffle or a player goes down. So I can understand that, and given where he's at in his career, you want him to get a bit of a taste of NRL. But then we've got Okunbor, who's being used as a middle forward. He's usually a winger. He probably had his best game last week, and that's probably saying a lot to the rest of the side. But he's not going to hurt the opposition. He's not going to tire an opposition. He's an up-and-down player, getting the ball and getting a quick play of the ball and then using his body in defence to try and win the wrestle with other players. But he's not going to put a player on the ground himself. He's not going to use his shoulder. Sometimes he still arm grabs. I don't think he's the best option off the bench for us right now. When you consider the rest of the bench and the makeup of the team, I think he'd be better off playing as a middle in New South Wales Cup. And that leads me to what I was saying before with Pele playing 10 minutes. He's not going to get fit in NRL by playing 10 minutes. The best way for him to get up to NRL level fitness is to play week in, week out NRL and perhaps gradually increasing his minutes to what we want him to get to, a level, which is probably about 20-25 minutes, maybe half an hour. Or be able to play half an hour, but you get a good 20-25 minutes out of him. He's not going to get that by playing 10 minutes in NRL and then being dropped back to New South Wales Cup and playing 25 to 30 minutes. He'd have to be playing well over an hour in New South Wales Cup to increase his fitness levels because, the intensity is just a lot less in New South Wales Cup. And then you've got RFM playing as the bench, middle and edge forward, but mainly being used as a middle forward. And I think his form's been a bit down. speaking of form a bit down, I think Pangai Jr. has been disappointing as well. I don't understand why he's playing before the line. We need him hitting the line and perhaps creating second phase with his offloads. He hasn't been doing that as much. Harrison Edwards is the player playing before the line. He's the lock. So I'm not sure about that. Preston, King and Waddell are all doing their hardest in the middle of the field and on the edges. But slowly they just get dominated and they're losing post-contact from the opposition. And I think that's a result of the bench not being as physical as what it could be. So that's just my opinion. I think would benefit by having the likes of Sutton, Hughes or Moran put in on the bench, one or both, depending on RFM's form. But I would look to put Ockenbaugh to New South Wales Cup until the balance is better and he's more accustomed to playing in the middle. And perhaps we start getting one or two players back. I don't know how far Luke Thompson is, but things might change there. But I just feel that the balance of the team is hurting us and we're getting dominated, and we need to get the best out of guys like King, Pangai Jr., RFM. And we're not going to get that by putting Pele on for 10 minutes in the second half. Our biggest and most damaging prop in our top 30, it's just not going to help us. We're going to get bullied, and we need more starch in the middle. That's just my opinion, guys. Anyway, be happy to hear your thoughts. If you think I'm wrong, let me know. But anyway, have a good week, and I'll talk to you next week, and hopefully we get a win over the Titans. See you guys.
Bordeaux. It was the home side that hit the front early. Bessie Tamunga crossing for the Clydesdales. Then in the 13th minute, another try to the Clydesdales. This one through Jordan Lip. The Pride had their first try in the 24th minute. Ash Little with this 4-pointer. All good. Then the 28th minute, the Clydesdales were in again. A second try of the afternoon for Jordan Lip. Desiree Louis crossed for the Pride with 5 minutes left in the first half. At the break, the Clydesdales were in front of the Northern Pride, 18 points to 12. Early in the second half, when Rashawn Denny crossed for the Pride. Malone Budden crossed the 49th minute for the Clydesdales. Go. This was shaping up to be a Host Plus Cup classic. In the 53rd minute, the Pride were in through Bernard Lewis. Then 5 minutes later, Feo Tongia crossed for the Pride. Into the 71st minute, and the Pride scored again through Evan Childs. We had a grandstand finish when Drew Timms crossed for the Clydesdales with 5 minutes left on the clock. But in the end, it was the Pride who hung on to win by 2. The Northern Pride defeating the Western Clydesdales 32 points to 30. Peter.
Get here, Curtis! Good. Good. Outside. Still 3. No obstruction. And grounded. Yep. Right, mate. Yes, hold. Go for retreating. Yep. All retreated now. Good. Grounded. Try it, mate. All good there. Go 3. Shit. 3. Line's good now. Okay, beyond. Yep. Good ball. Keep on. Good pass. Behind it. Yep. Hang on. Keep going. Not out. Okay. Backwards, Warriors. Backwards, Warriors. Kick here. Okay, kick again. One coming. One coming. Off the leg! Way back, Warriors! Okay, they're coming. They're all back now over there. Good ball. Grounded. Try, mate. Go for a second marker. Ryan, come 10. What's the angle he plays it at? Yeah, it's just a good ball. 4. Okay, grounding. Grounding is good. Try, mate. Good line. That's fine. Go. Going. Fine! Right, pull the middle. Hold middle! He's fine. Thank you. Yes, 10 on. 4 down. 4. Take the goal, left. Okay, yeah, 4 down. All good, mate. For you. Oh! Go. 4. Hit it good. Shoulder! Funny. That's not good. You can take him. 4 down. Yeah. Hold! 19-6, go 10. Stay calm, mate.